In this video lesson, I'm going to show you guys how to make Charizard. So, this is the completed design. We're going to make them from scratch. So, here's my kind of start of it. If you guys don't know how to use TinkerCAD, I highly encourage you to go to the activity hero, sign up for some classes, look at some others because I'm not going to go into too much detail of exactly how my process, but you will see that I'm going to be using mostly basic shapes in order to build his feet right now. So right now you can see I'm building his toe. It's going to be kind of arbitrary. The most important things are, of course, getting this right. So all I did was Control C, Control V. I'm going to actually make his feet a little bit. I'm going to be referring back to uh, his photo a couple times during the lesson, so you'll be able to see the reference that I'm kind of looking at. And so, anyway, this is how you build Charizard. So you can see here what I'm doing. It's pretty simple. Just brought some basic shapes into here. I use a paraboloid, a square with some rounded edges to build his foot. Now I'm only going to be building, now important thing to note is I'm building one foot at a time. You'll see why. I'm going to be mirroring the foot to the other side. Again, just changing the color. And I'm going to rotate this forward. You'll see why in a second. I might even make this a little bit bigger. I'll make adjustments as I kind of go. But you'll see, all I'm doing is Control C, Control V. And so you'll see very quickly I have one leg. I'm also going to, I think, angle it this way a little bit. Undo that, actually. It's always easier to angle when it's at the 90 like this, and then rotate as you kind of need. And I might make this a little bit bigger than the other sphere. Again, I'm only going to build one leg at a time. I'm going to go kind of fast, so feel free to pause the video at any time. So I just grouped all the shapes together. I'm going to click multicolor, okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and Control C, Control V. I'm going to have other leg. Now to mirror it, I'm going to click on this leg. I'm going to hit mirror. I'm going to flip that over and you see how it flips. All right, so for his body, let's go back to our picture. You can kind of see he has an egg shape. Let's try that. Now, I put mine in favorites, but so I'm going to use the egg. Okay. And I'm going to kind of, let's make this a little bit shorter. Yeah, wrong color. Let's try, see that I just use a simple egg over here for the body. For the other part of his body, so to kind of get his orange around the egg, you'll see how I'm going to do it. I'm also going to kind of make this a little bit shorter. Oh, undo that. Make that a little bit shorter. We're going to use a sphere. And I'm going to stretch this back out. I'm going to change this to orange so you can kind of see I'm going to make the back part of his body. I might even use two spheres just to kind of give it the look I want. And you see how I can kind of stretch that out. Might move it up a little bit as well. Might even shorten this egg back. And then you'll see here that starting to get a little bit more of the picture of what I'm doing. And then, of course, making the adjustments as necessary. And you'll see I have most of his body, like that. All right, so it's pretty good. It's pretty close to how I want it. Now, the next thing is, of course, I'm always going to be referring back to this photo here. And for his tail, I'm actually going to start it out as Let's do my favorites, which is over here. I'm gonna use the egg. Let's do the lower part of his tail, and then also we're gonna copy paste it again. So I'm gonna rotate it this way because I want the pointy end. Actually, hang on. I want to let's make this a little bit shorter. It's a lot easier, like I said, to make the make the changes when it's at a 90. When you rotate it, you can kind of see how like uh doesn't change exactly in the right way that I want. Now, okay, so I have the tail, and then but if I want two colors, because his tail is a his it's like a yellowish color on the bottom, which is kind of what I have. I'm also, let's see, yeah, that's fine. I think I'm gonna try to keep it there. I flew that way. Again, I'm changing my view if I need to, and sometimes you need to. Gonna make the adjustments down just like that. Then I'm gonna change this to orange. Then we'll have this overlapping. If you need to make the lower part a little bit smaller, I mean now's kind of the time to do it. I am trying kind of carefully to make my adjustments as I kind of work through this process, and you'll see that his tail is a little bit thicker right here, and then it'll eventually kind of like thin out. And so for the other parts of his tail, I'm actually going to do something similar. And let's rotate this, let's just say 90 degrees. So I have new banana. If you don't know where new banana is, it's on page 16. Let me show you down here. So you go to page 16, it'll be right here, okay? I don't know if you can see that on video. Yeah, let me move that up a little bit. All right, so you can see here, and the reason I'm going to use new banana is that it gives me a nice little curve, and I can kind of stretch it out. I might curve it, I want to might curve it the other way. I'm also going to, let's rotate it too much. Let's type in, let's say 10, see if I like that rotation. Again, just making the adjustments as I see fit. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. Same kind of process. I'm going to move this down, change the color, and you'll kind of see I'm starting to get a little bit more of his tail. And I get that nice curvature with the banana. Then I'm also going to go ahead and highlight all of them, group them together. Let's do multicolor so that they stay one color. Something like that. Okay. I think this tail needs to be longer, so I'm actually going to ungroup. Then I'm going to go ahead and try this. Move it around. I'm going to, again, overlapping these shapes together so they kind of look like they're one shape. Best I can. I mean, you're going to see some edge clipping on it. You'll see like the little joints area, but if I can kind of, I guess, manipulate it, I'm also going to make this a little bit thicker than the other part. And if I need to, again, moving this inwards, you'll see some overlap, but that's okay. It'll look good in your photos afterwards. So you'll see here, I'm also having the body. Now, the other thing, so the tail's mostly done. I'll do the flames later. I'm going to do his neck now. Let's do the neck. Okay, I'm going to rotate this guy up. Let's check the curvature. Okay, perfect. So and the reason I like his this is because you kind of get like a nice curve, a little bit of a curve. I don't want it, I can even turn the curve down, but it is curved like a banana. You'll see. So let's check his neck again. So you can kind of see it's a pretty good neck. Again, just making the finer adjustments, hiding parts of the neck into the body. It's not going to be super long. Might even change the curve a little bit. Don't want it too much of a curve. Also, just making adjustments. It's going to be, mostly proportional to his body. Let's do Let's do his face. Now his face is going to be just a bunch of spheres together. So you'll see. So I'm going to kind of stretch that out. Let's see. And I'll even check my other Charizard. You can see that there's a bunch of different spheres, and that's basically what we're going to be doing. So making the adjustments here and there. So that's going to be kind of the upper part of his head. Let's try to go a little bigger like that. Okay. And again, this is going to be kind of his mouth area. Let's go back to my charts that I made. Might even switch that to a round rectangle later. Okay, like I did before. But we'll kind of make um, some small changes. Let's take one of these boxes here. Not move it that way. I meant to grab the black arrow on top. Again, changing the radius. This changes to orange. Okay, and again, just trying to more or less try to get a similar look to Charizard. We're not here to match him exactly. We don't get paid enough for that, but we do want to at least try to make it look pretty good. And once his eyes come on, you'll see. And I'm at this view in order to get his. I'm gonna put this kind of back, hide parts of his face, maybe even stretch that out into the other spheres. So going back, and we'll go back to our Charizard here, not that Charizard. So we have most of that. You can kind of see. We'll make the adjustments um, just like that. And then, of course, going back to my Charizard, we'll increase his cheek a little bit, maybe even have some other spheres as well. So just using kind of this principle, bringing this out. Again, Control C, Control V, moving this up. And then whatever we do to one side of the face, let's make sure we do it to the other side. So holding Shift and clicking both of those. I'm going to hit Control C, Control V, kind of moving this over. Again, making sure everything is symmetrical. Now he's not going to look like Charizard just yet. After we get his eyes on, he'll look a lot more like Charizard. Again, I'm moving pretty fast and making a lot of adjustments. And every time I make an adjustment on one side, it's always important to make an adjustment on the other side. Okay. And let's go back to Charizard. Let's make this part a little bit longer. We'll go ahead and shrink this down. Let's move it up. Again, always hitting my favorite button, undo. You can also hit Control Z, but you can kind of see we're starting to get a lot more like Charizard's head and face. Just like that. And again, if I needed to, I don't want to make the adjustments again to this side because I made a bunch of adjustments to that side. I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control C, Control V, and then just kind of move it over just like that. And again, I'm going to be checking. All right. So that's like a pretty good head. I might make this a little bit taller and also maybe even back a little bit just like that. Again, I'm making the adjustments as I go. Now for his teeth, you can use either this cone, but I like the paraboloid. I'm going to go ahead and give him these two teeth right here. Also his nostrils, but I'm going to flip this over. Okay, using the mirror button, move this up and squeeze this down a little bit, just like that. And again, if you guys are having trouble following along because I'm moving really fast, and look how I'm changing my view to move his tooth into position and making adjustments once it's up undo. Let's actually just group his head parts together. I think I got most of them. And then we'll try and There we go, just like that. Go ahead and move this up a little bit as well. Again, making the adjustments. So you see we have a tooth. Then we'll Control C, Control V. Move it to the other side. Let's go ahead and mirror that. Mirror that over. Okay. See, very, very easy. Now, let's look at his eyes. His eyes are kind of like a wedge shape. Let's do something similar. So let's use a wedge. We'll move this up. And we'll move this kind of there. Let's check. So you can see that his eye is flipped the wrong way. So let's go ahead and use our mirror tool again. Let's make this part white. Okay. Once we get this on, he's gonna really start looking a lot more like Charizard, of course. There we go. Put that to the other side. So we'll have him stick out like this. We're gonna cut it back later, but we'll want to make sure it's mostly on the orange. There we go, just like that. Okay. And so looking to make any adjustments here and there. Okay, then let's go back to our picture. We'll get some of the let's see. So let's try like try and get this black part and white part of his eye. So in order to do that, let's make a smaller one of these. We'll go ahead. We'll make this black so you can see this better. So just like that. And then we'll stretch this back. Let's stretch this up a little bit. There we go. Just like that. We'll also try to stretch it out this way. We are going to cut it back. Let's take a cylinder. Let's rotate this part 90 degrees. Oh, again, I'm changing my view so I can get a better view. Make sure to type in 90. So you can see I clicked the number. And then we'll go ahead and make this part white. Let's make this a lot smaller. And we're also going to do somewhat similar, but we're going to make sure it's only be touching the kind of black area here. Okay, good. So, just like this. So again, just manipulating the white squares so that they're a little bit smaller. And let's check. That looks about right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move this part over. I'm going to Okay, so I'm going to click onto his head. Okay, I'm going to hit duplicate and repeat. Let's move this guy over. Okay, let's make this a hole. So watch. So this part is, I'm going to cut the eyes back into his skull. It's going to look something similar to this. So, oh, I forgot the nostrils. Let's see. Actually, okay, before I do that, yeah, let's add some of the, let's add his like nostrils right there. So let's move this up and we're going to kind of, okay. So let's make this part black. We'll do this real quickly and then we'll be able to cut this back again, changing my view in order to get the kind of look I want. So let's also kind of rotate that way. Okay, Control C, Control V. Let's use our favorite tools, the mirror function. Okay, so we have his kind of nostrils. I actually don't like his teeth. I want to make adjustments there as well. Okay, good. Oops, undo. So, pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and hide on his teeth. Hide on his teeth because we don't need that for right now. Okay, so So now we have his head. Okay, so remember to watch my order of operation. I'm going to try to go a little bit slow here, but basically I duplicated his head. I made his head whole. Okay, then I'm going to select both of them by making kind of a red box. So make sure the red box is over the head, just like that. I'm going to hit group. Okay, now make sure you hit group before you hit whole over here. All right. Then you have like a cavity inside that's the same shape of his head. So let's put that over his head just like that. Okay. So sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if it works. Let's hit group. Okay, multicolor. Okay, we got everything but the black parts of his eye, which is a little bit unfortunate. That's okay. We'll go ahead and hit undo, undo. Okay, so it didn't give us the black part. That's okay. We'll go ahead and we'll move this out for now. Let's make a copy of his head. So I'm going to hit Control C, Control V, move that over. Let's move this part over. We're going to go ahead and group everything like we did before. We'll group multicolor right there. Then let's move this black part about right here. Okay. And we'll get the white part later because I kind of forgot, but that's okay. Let's try. Then we'll do the same kind of procedure again, moving that little cavity over his head so that the only thing is going to be cutting is the black parts of his eyes. So let's go ahead and check that out so you can see. Okay, let's undo and undo, undo, undo. Let's also move that out of the way. Let's move that cylinder so you can see what I'm doing. So we'll go ahead, hit multicolor, and then of course put that there. Let's try putting the cylinder about right. Let's move that part up a little bit. Let's see. I think that's going to give us the look we want. All right, let's try that. So we'll move this hole over the head, and then let's hit group. Pray that it works. Let's hope that works. Mostly worked. We didn't get the white cylinder. We'll try. We'll try again later. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Then of course, let's check what else we're missing. We're missing, of course, the horns. So we'll take some paraboloids here, and of course, same procedure. We are adjusting the little horns on his head to be kind of the same size. So let's move this down and kind of back onto his head. So it's just like that. And then we'll make the adjustments because they're not that long. We'll go ahead and rotate it slightly this way. Okay. Then of course we'll use our favorite function, which is Control C, Control V. Yeah, mirror that over. Put that on the other side of his head just like that. Awesome. All right, let's do Charizard's. Let's do his arms. Same kind of procedures as we did with his legs. I'm gonna make it in a couple different parts, and we'll stretch that out. But again, it's way easier to make the adjustments when it's 90. I'm always gonna build his parts one at a time. We'll make this part a little bit smaller. He actually has 3 joints. Take the box here, move it here. Again, changing view in order to get the adjustments right. We'll go ahead and do that. Also, kind of rotate. Actually, I want let's do some claws first. I'm going to do something slightly different for his claws. Let's use a roof instead. Make that smaller. We'll make this part white. always build one side and then just mirror it. It's going to save you guys a lot of time in your design, whether you're designing Charizard or just about anything else. But you can kind of see the procedures mostly the same. We're hiding a lot of the details inside of his uh, body parts, just like that. So you can kind of see. I think that's fine. We'll go ahead and hold Shift and click on all. Oops, click the wrong thing. We can always highlight and Shift and hold. We'll go ahead and hit Group. We'll do multicolor. All right, that's going to give us the colors that we want. Then we'll Control C, Control V, mirror this to the other. Oh no, what did I do? Oh, I see. Okay, so I grouped a lot more than I actually wanted. So let's ungroup, which is fine. So you can kind of see. It's nice to see, my mistakes. So hopefully you guys, when you're designing, you don't see my mistakes. We'll go ahead and hit multicolor. We'll hit Control C, Control V. We're going to get mirror. All right, then we'll put that on to his other side. Now, let's do the wings. So the way I'm going to do his wings is I'm going to take a donut slice. Let's kind of stretch this out a little bit. Let's also reduce, yeah, something like that. Maybe let's make that arc a little bit one, and we'll stretch that. So hopefully we'll get some semblance. So I want to do this part of the wing, then maybe add a little bump, then another part right there. Okay, so let's mirror this, or we're going to flip that over. Okay, now I'm going to build the wing on the ground. Okay, and let's change the arc. I'm going to reduce this arc. Yeah, about right there. Okay, actually, yeah, let's do that. And then same kind of procedure. Let's look at our picture here. It's actually going to, let's see our Charizard over here. Yeah, let's add actually a little bit more arc there. Maybe even rotate this slightly. Now I want to make sure they're touching. I'm going to try to rotate. Again, changing my view. Okay, so it should be something like this. Okay, and then let's add maybe like a banana right here. Go ahead and check our Charizard. All right, I think can be something like this. Okay, let's make all that orange. There we go. And let's also group that together. Oh, that's strange. Okay, so, okay, good. That was strange. Okay, anyway, let's add some shapes to it. So let's add this box right here. Okay, then I'm going to kind of stretch it this way. I don't want anything poking out the end. And then, of course, let's try to do that. Okay, then let's make this part because Charizard's do have the back of his wing. It's going to be orange on the back and then green on the front. So we're going to have to use our favorite function, of course, as always, copy paste. We'll go ahead and try to fill in the gaps here best that we can. Okay, so something like that. Okay, let's also actually maybe make this part one. Okay, and then we'll add some kind of depths to it. I want to make sure I'm filling up as much as possible. I'm going to be cutting it later on. Okay. Again, checking reference photos so you can kind of see. So I need to make these little bumps right there. But for right now, you'll see kind of what my process when I'm done here. But essentially, let's take, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to fill in the gaps. So let's make sure that we are filling in as much as possible. A lot of it is going to be kind of hidden, okay, just like that. And of course, Control C, Control V, uh, right about here. And of course, adding in maybe even another cylinder, Control C, Control V. You'll see what I'm doing in just a little bit. Okay. And again, we're only kind of trying to go for the look. Okay, so we have the wing. Let's go ahead and group. Yeah, let's group everything. Okay, then let's make it orange. All right. So now let's do some cutting. Let's add in, let's say a cylinder right here. And I'm going to do something like this right here. And of course, kind of stretch this part down. Making it a little bit bigger now. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm making these little cuts. So I want to kind of position them so they will be kind of overlapping. Okay, making the adjustments where necessary. And you'll see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and group all of this together. So I'm going to hit group right here. And then let's make, so then we have most of his wing. And then we'll do, let's do duplicate and repeat this time. Move this part up just slightly. We'll make the part green, just like that. Okay. Then you can kind of see we have two colors. Let's group everything together. Make multicolor. All right. Then, like I said, it's always easier to make the wing on the ground. Might make adjustments later on if you want, but we'll go ahead and flip that 90. All right. Now I'm going to put this onto his body, and again, making the adjustments uh, as I kind of go. See, I think his wing is, it's about right. But if you need to, you can always make it a little bit smaller because I want to make it somewhat proportional now. Building the wings. Here you go. Just like that. Okay, so then we'll go ahead Control C, Control V. We'll mirror this to the other side. Okay. And there we go. We have Charizard mostly. Let's do the flames real quick. It shouldn't take very long. Um, I'm just gonna take, basically some random shapes that I'm gonna go through. Stuff that like I think has some like kind of cool peaks. I'll make that red, and we'll kind of put them together in a unique kind of way. We'll make this part kind of like say yellow, and we'll have them kind of clip through each other. And this way you can get like a different look. We'll make this, and then of course we'll make this orange and flip it, say this way. We'll do our favorite function, Control C, Control V. Give it a little bit of chaos to it. Okay. We're only going for the look. It doesn't have to be super accurate unless you want to try 3D printing it. Um, and then we'll go ahead and group all these shapes together. Hit multicolor. Move this down so we can hide some of the joints. And then we might even, let's rotate it this way. Can kind of rotate it up. But about right there. All right. And we have Charizard. Charizard is done. So thank you so much for doing the lesson, and hopefully you can sign up for more classes on Activity Hero. So link in the description below, and I'll see you guys soon.